Hello, water signs. Welcome to another episode of Tarot Juice. This one, we're going to be discussing the energy forecast for you, water signs, from mid to late July. It's been one amazing emotional journey this July, especially since the new moon in Cancer hit us in Cancer season. It's brought out a lot of the wounds that we've had as children, and it's really brought that to the surface so that we can finally mend it, let it go, and release it so that it no longer influences us and um, it no longer dictates who we are as people, right, anymore. Things have indeed happened in our past, and it's really our responsibility to release those things and understand them and extract the lesson from them, rather than feel entitled to do XYZ thing because things have happened, right? So things happen not for us to repeat them, things happen for us to understand them so that we can become more whole as people, and really embody higher understanding and higher wisdom. All right? So without further ado, let's see what we have in store for Cancer for the next 2 weeks to come. Cancer. Oh, Cancer. I see you doing work. Yeah. All right. I see a lot of anxiety, Cancer. I see a lot of playing into false reality in your mind, allowing assumptions to take over, right? And it's a thing. It's a thing that happens. Our thoughts do create our reality, right? So if we're basing our reality on thoughts that or assumptions about things that are happening that aren't necessarily true, that will still create a reality in the mind, and it's going to believe in those things. That's how powerful the brain is as a machine. Okay, whatever we convince ourselves of and however much energy we give it, it will grow, and it will start to influence our physical reality, whether it's real or not, even if it's just an illusion. So it's always important to make sure that we catch these things. All right? It might just be these 3 cards. Yeah, let's just focus on these 3. So, this journey, Cancer, in the next 2 weeks, what's very important is to let go of something that I want to say is making your body more toxic than it needs to be. Okay, making it more acidic than it needs to be. And this could be any kind of habit that you're overindulging in that now needs to be let go of. It could be a relationship that you need to let go of because it's no longer serving you, or your person or your reality. Something basically needs to be let go of because there's too much of it. It's in excess, and it's throwing off the balance and the alchemy of the body. Okay, disappointment is a real thing. Disappointment is a product of having expectations. And when we have expectations of people, when we have an expectation of a certain situation to come about in a specific way, and that's not met, it can really throw us off. And it can really make us feel like life is unfair. But life isn't unfair, right? Things always happen because they're meant to happen in that way. So perhaps we can really benefit from detaching to a certain outcome, or to ways, to things happening in a very specific route, and to be open to life, and to be open to reality, to be open to new ways of behaving and new ways of being and new ways of doing things. Because this disappointment that you're experiencing, the expectations that you have, perhaps of yourself, of people, it's really sending you down an illusion. Okay, you're sort of being played by your anxiety. You're sort of being played by your worries, and it's not allowing you to live in the best environment that you can, okay? So really, for the next 2 weeks, it's all about how to overcome my anxiety. What is anxiety? Anxiety is simply uncertainty, right? When we're uncertain about the future and when we can't sort of have control of it, like we would wish we could have control over the future, it really robs us of the power that we actually have, right? But the only thing that you have control over are your thoughts and your actions. You have no control over anything else in reality. And when you have control over your thoughts, which influence the words that you speak, which also influence the actions that you take, everything else in reality follows suit. So you can't control the chaos that's out there, but the more you control the chaos that's within your body and allow it to find equilibrium, that's when everything outside of yourself starts to follow suit as well. And everything starts to find a sort of balance around you because you have balanced what is inside of you. It's all inside out. So make sure that if you're having any thoughts, first identify the validity of the thought. So make sure it is a fact and not just an assumption. Make sure that it's real and not just a pattern that you're repeating, okay? That's the best way that you're gonna yank out anxiety. And then on top of all of that, learn to trust a little more. Learn to trust that the universe is always on your side and it's always giving you what you deserve and what you need to grow and to thrive. You don't have to control everything. You don't have to fix everything. You just have to focus on making sure everything inside of you is peaceful and everything will follow suit. And you're gonna get over this. And once you get over this little anxiety hump, you're gonna realize how many gifts there are that you have. You're gonna recognize something about yourself that needs to be put into action because of how worthy it is, right? You're gonna realize something about yourself that is really gonna bring out a lot of opportunities, okay? Whether that's a skill that you rediscover, a gift you rediscover, a talent that you have that you're finally willing to put into practice, whatever it is, and you already know what it is. It just needs a little bit of love and some space and some energy to grow, but it's definitely worth pursuing. And the only reason you're not pursuing it right now is because you're sort of caught in the artificial reality of your anxiety. And once that hump is gone over, that gift is going to come about and you're going to be ready to share it with the world. So let go of excess, let go of the disappointment that you may have. Understand that disappointment is just a result of having expectations, but expectations lead you nowhere because, again, you want things to go a certain way, but they just can't go that way all the time. Things are gonna follow the way that they need to be followed, and you just have to make sure that you're in check and you're good and that you're coming from a place of your own standards, and let go of everyone else's standards because they don't follow the same standards as you. But lead the way, lead by example, and that's slowly gonna lead you out of your anxiety. It's gonna help you trust things a little more. And you're going to discover things about yourself that perhaps you forgot once upon a time that are really going to help serve you and your purpose in this life, okay? So that's your journey for the next 2 weeks. Let's see what you need to surrender. Cancer, Cancer, Cancer. If nothing comes out, I'm gonna settle with surrender your anxiety. Let it go. Understand that that's just an emotion. It's nothing else but an emotion. It's not grounded in reality. It's not grounded in fact. When anxiety comes up, recognize the frequency, recognize the emotional imprint of it, and then rise above it and say, nah, not this time. This ain't me. This is just a pattern. Okay, Cancer? Thank you so much for joining. on to Scorpio. Oh, the moon is in Scorpio right now. It's bringing out a lot of intense energies. It's bringing out a lot of combative energies, right? I think a lot of people are feeling that right now. But you might be feeling that too, Scorpio. Feeling like, I love this. Yeah, there's definitely like a warrior spirit that's coming out of you, Scorpio. Um, one that might feel like life is unfair, unjust, and the injustice or the unfairness of it all is sort of like propelling you in a direction where you feel like you have to fight or defend or and while that's good, it's also important not to get swept away by that, because then all we're doing is being aggressive and we're not allowing enough of that love or that nurturing energy to come through too. We need both to balance things out. All right, so this is the journey for you, Scorpio, in the next 2 weeks. There's a lot within you that you're fighting off right now, a lot of insecurities, a lot of there are voices inside of you that aren't really cheering you on or supporting you or promoting you, and perhaps we're feeding into those voices a little too much. Okay, think of it as like there's a voice inside of you that is trying to so there's a person inside of you that's just trying to survive, right? I think we can all identify with that person. We're all just trying to preserve ourselves. Again, we can relate this back to in history, in humankind, when we were first trying to survive out in the wilderness. Everyone was on edge and everyone was in a mode of defense, because you have to make sure you have shelter, you have food, you have that primitive instinct of preservation. And perhaps that instinct is coming out a little more right now, feeling like you have to preserve yourself, or you have to protect your space, or you have to handle yourself or fend for yourself or take care of yourself. But again, it's important not to feed into that energy, because you're already taken care of, you're already protected, you're already good. You just need to come from this place and allow the voice of that certainty, which is I'm already good, to influence your actions. And what that's going to do is, instead of helping you preserve your little circle, it's going to help expand your circle, include more people, and you're going to allow yourself to grow and thrive rather than just survive, right? There's a very subtle difference between thriving and surviving. We don't want to just survive. That's comfortable. We want to thrive. We want to take risks. We want to be vulnerable. We want to show sides of ourselves that perhaps we're too proud to show, or we feel like aren't worthy of showing. We want to show those things. Okay, go back to your childhood. It's very important here to go back to your childhood, or to go back to the environment that you were in when you were growing up, and start thinking about what values you were taught, and how you were taught to do things, how you were taught to behave, how you were taught to participate with life, basically. And I want you to decide which one of those things worked and which ones didn't. I think you already have an idea. We all have very concrete ideas of what our parents did right, what our parents did wrong. If we didn't have parents, our authority figures, whoever took care of us, whatever they did right and whatever they did wrong, we already instinctually know, right? So we have to make sure that we don't follow suit, and that we just don't get influenced by those patterns. It's very easy to know if your mom did something wrong or your dad did something wrong, but then you start seeing yourself doing the same thing. That's just life. But then our responsibility is to transcend that and to notice that when it happens, and to decide, no, we are a different person. We follow a different path, right? So this is very important. Ask yourself these questions here, because you're being guided towards being your own authority figure. instead of just following suit with doing what your authority figures in your past have done. You don't want to repeat that. You want to start new cycles. You want to create a new reality and a new paradigm for yourself, okay? And when you start doing that, life is going to send you, it's basically going to strike you with this sort of inspiration or this motivation to do something, and you're going to feel very ungrounded, okay? Life is going to send you energy, and you're going to be so passionate and inspired by something, right? And it's going to really be up to you to bring that energy back down and ground it into reality. So this is the journey, okay? You're fighting, there's a lot, like I said, there's a lot of combative energy here. So it's all about really defending yourself and defending yourself from yourself, right? Defending your thriving self from your surviving self. You have to go within yourself and convince your body that it doesn't need to survive anymore, that it's safe, and that it needs to thrive and trust a little more. And you have to go within yourself to really be reflective, explore your past, ask yourself questions like, who were my parents? What were they doing that I didn't like? When I was a child, what were the things that were being done that I didn't agree with? And you have to make sure you don't repeat those things in your present, okay? And that's gonna help bring in a lot of energy, a lot of motivational energy, a lot of inspiring energy. You're gonna feel a little out of body. You're gonna feel like you're not grounded in reality and that you're just so right? And you have to make sure you bring that back down. And the best way to do that, and the advice that you're being given here, is to give without expectation. Give without expectation. Give without expectation. Give because you want to give. Give because you feel like you have resources that need to be shared, whether that's your time, whether that's your valuable knowledge, whether that's your nurturing, loving, whether that's your emotions, whether that's literally lending money to somebody. Right now, it's important to share what you have so that you can receive in turn. Anything that we give, we receive back. This is a law. This is a universal law. Whatever I give, I receive. And this includes energy, negative energy too. If we give negative energy, even if we're thinking very negative thoughts, that's going to come back to us. So you have to be very careful about what you're giving. And make sure that you are giving without expectation. Show up because you want to show up, because you want to help people. Show up and notice the opportunities come through from the energy that you're giving to help others, okay? Get out of surviving. You don't need to survive. You're good. You need to trust that voice and then build. All right? So put your swords down and fight through love, right? Defend with love. Defend with understanding, especially for yourself. You're good. You're fine. All right, Scorpio? There's no need to fight anymore. You're safe. So for the next 2 weeks, I would just focus on that, okay? Look at your life. Notice the patterns that you don't like. Bring yourself back to reality. Let's see what you need to surrender here. Surrender your fear of change. That's what you need to surrender here, Scorpio. Surrender your fear of change. Right? And it's a huge change to shift from surviving to thriving, and to trust, to know that everything is going to work out for you. without having to really hustle or fight for it, right? Surrender that. You're good. And you deserve things to come to you without feeling like you have to fight for it. You deserve that. You deserve to have things just effortlessly flow in. All right? So focus on that during these next 2 weeks. Thank you, Scorpio. And finally, we have our dreamers. We have our believers, the Pisces, the ones who live in the spiritual oceans. Pisces. I see temptation. Yes. It's a little heavy for you, Pisces. The first message I have for you is be careful what you wish for. There are a lot of seducing temptations around you, right? Think of the snake in the Garden of Eden. We're talking about those kinds of temptations. So just be careful what you're influenced by. Be careful what you put your energy into, because that's you're being tested, right? There are certain things that are trying to lead you astray, and you have to be very strong about what you really want for yourself and what you really want for your future, as to not repeat those things again out of comfort or out of security. Careful what you wish for. Make sure that what you're trying to manifest, or that what you truly desire, is what you truly desire, not what you think you need, but what you really want. No inhibitions, no blocks, no lying to yourself. What is it that you really want? How do you really see yourself, Pisces? And focus on that. Because what's happening right now is there are a lot of energies around you that are, like I said, trying to lead you astray. But you have to keep pushing towards the light. You have to keep, it's just a solo journey here, right? You have to keep pushing forward. You don't let those seducing thoughts get in your way. Don't let jealousy get in your way. Don't compare yourself to anyone else, and don't let anyone compare you to anyone else. You are your own person. Your progress is your own. Your journey is your own. So let it be that. Yeah. So the polar opposite of an angelic frequency is a demonic frequency, right? And I don't mean to say these things as scary things, but the more you express your angelic self, the more the lower frequencies are also going to be summoned just subconsciously, because everything is summoned with its polar opposite. And you have to really be adamant on not getting lost in those very seducing thoughts, right? All a demonic frequency is a surviving frequency. It's just a frequency that's trying to convince you to to preserve yourself, to preserve your body, and to give yourself what you need in the moment, rather than thinking about long term. And so you're really being pushed to continue putting energy into the things you know will allow you to grow in the long term, and will give you what you're looking for in the long term. Because right now you're feeling a lot of pressure on your shoulders. It's just there's a lot of weight on your shoulders, and there's a lot of pressure, and it's you're convincing yourself you need to do more than you need to do, when really you're already good, right? So we have to get out of that mode of doing too much, and learning how to be more patient, sit in the feminine a little more. We have to rebalance ourselves a little bit. Make sure that the habits that you're feeding into are benefiting you and not the opposite, because it just, again, right, it just feels good in the moment to do those things. So if there is a part of your system that you're neglecting, this is the time to go back to it now. Whether that be your physical environment, if your physical environment needs to be reorganized, do that. If you need to give your body more substantial things, more substantial energy, whether that be cleaner foods, higher vibrational foods, whether that be, staying away from drinking, if you're smoking, to put that away a little bit, or if you're not dealing with certain, I don't really see emotions as the issue here. It's more the sense of purpose that's the issue here. Not that your sense of purpose is an issue, but perhaps you're doubting your sense of purpose. And to make sure that people's voices don't get into your head too much, and to focus on your own voice, because not everyone's voice that's around you is serving your best interest. And it's not because they're trying to lead you astray. They have no awareness of what they're doing, because they're trying to survive as well, and they're just they're doing what they think is right, and they're telling you what they think is right, but you know what's best for you. So don't let other thoughts try to deter you away from what's actually good for you. You know what's good for you, Piscean. So go back to your spiritual practice. That's the most important thing. Make sure you're maintaining your spiritual practice. Make sure you have a morning routine set in for you that you're committing to help maintain that structure for your day, right? The onset of anything is important. So make sure that the onset of your day is positive and is empowering and is aligned with what you're truly here for, and not what you think you need to be doing to make sure that XYZ is taken care of. Everything is already taken care of. So go more towards the light. Continue on with your healing. And everything will be okay. Learn to delegate as well. Learn to ask for help when you need to. You don't have to do it all on your own. You might be feeling a lot of pressure on your shoulders, very overwhelmed. But it takes a village to do anything. So if you need help, ask for it. It's okay. People are here to help. You don't have to do it alone. And you're a leader too. People want to help you. People are here to help you. But they just don't, perhaps they just don't know that you need help, because you're showing a person who is good, right? A person who can take care of everything herself or himself. And you can. But to involve more people will allow more things to happen, right? So find that balance. Find that balance. And find more balance within your spiritual self, because I think your spirit is asking for you to reconnect once again. Perhaps we got too swept up with reality that we're forgetting our spirit. Too caught up with the like tangible reality, with the physical reality, that we're forgetting our spirit a little bit. So, whether that's the meditative practice that you've let go of, go back to it. Whether that's working out that you've let go of, go back to it, because that does activate the spirit. The spirit to do things, right? So that's the journey I have for you, Pisces, is make sure that what you're wishing for is what you actually want, not what you think you want out of survival. Remember that there are energies around you that are testing your emotional resilience. So don't get caught up by the negative waves. Maintain stability. Maintain focus on the prize, which is the light, which is moving forward, which is spiritual upgrading, spiritual evolution, spiritual progression. Create, create, create. And make sure that you ask for help when you need to. You can't do everything on your own. It takes a village to do things. You have a lot of responsibility on your shoulder. And they will all be taken care of, like they always are, as long as you come from a place of, I'm good. And I just need, one task at a time, and ask for help where you need it. This is a journey of rebalancing for you in the next 2 weeks. Oh, I love that. So what you need to surrender to is wonder and awe. Open to the magic of every moment. Sense the awe and wonder in all of life. This attitude will keep you connected to the ecstasy of flow, right? Focus on the beauty. Every time your mind wants you to focus on something else, go back and focus on the beauty. Focus on the simple, beautiful things. There's beauty in everything. And the more we're inspired by this beauty, the more we're inspired to provide to the beauty and to add to the beauty. And that's when we continue to ride on those higher frequencies of doing things. Okay, Pisces, I hope this was helpful. Thank you everyone for joining. Thank you, water signs, once again. This is mid to late July. It's been an interesting summer, to say the least. There's been a lot of healing that's been going on. And especially in this Cancer season, there's just been a lot of emotions that we've all been riding on and understanding and clarifying, and we're all doing wonderful work. So thank you again for joining me. Please join and tune in the next coming weeks for more energy forecasts so that we can all continue to grow together and upgrade and evolve and ascend as we're meant to do. So thank you, and I will see you all soon. Take care.